Um, so start recording. Okay. YouTube go live. Nalanda Debate School is the YouTube, right? I need the password of YouTube of Nalanda Debate School. All Ghetto with a G with. Okay. No capital. Okay. 14. Comma. Pound. Number. Do you think? Okay, so can you give me a hand? Can you try? Snap it today.
Oh, hey. It's on. Yeah.
Yeah, when everything else works, you plug it on. No?
Start over.
Control Alt Delete. In don't use words.
Okay, I'm gonna What is it?
Well, so I'm in the streaming. I went to YouTube to the debate. I put go streaming, and I'm here and I'm waiting, and nothing's happening.
Started from
It's already
there
streaming.
first.
So no. So this is streaming. Yeah. I put it public or no?
Great. So just refresh. Oh, it's full screen. Got it.
Here, I got it.
YouTube. No. Where's the YouTube window? Sorry.
This one.
That one. Just refresh. Privacy is unlisted. It's not public.
No, I put it in public.
But it's not. That's it.
I put it in public. Yeah, but
What does that
I
mean?
configured. I don't know. I never used this one. So I configured it here and I put it public.
No, you have to configure it here as well. So let's start again.
Yes.
Oh, it's live. It's just yeah. You just have to. It is public.
Okay.
It's there.
Oh, so I didn't need to touch anything.
It's
Okay.
going. It just doesn't always.
I don't need to. Do I need to? I don't need to open this because it appeared there without me doing anything.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
It's live now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So I have to start it again. I have to change the title or something on this.
Yeah, we can change the title.
You can just. You want to leave it as this?
Let's say debate some. Yeah, we'll change
Day
it.
one. Day one. Something.
Wait, how much will do? Day one. Great.
Okay.
You got it. Thank you. And so if you can put your headphones on, let us know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go. Okay. Um.
Close them. Oh, I meant the windows, but the lights like the screen was here, the screen no.
Thank you very much for joining the Debate Summer School 2023. The lecture is about to start in a few minutes in the lecture hall. Currently, you're outside the courtyard, so you might want to go inside. Most of you, as far as I saw, were
Thank you very much for joining
the
Debate
stairs
Summer
south
School
of the chairs,
2023.
stairs or down.
The lecture is about
So
to start.
all you have to
in a
do
few
is
minutes
move your avatar
in the
up
lecture hall.
into the lecture
Currently,
hall from
you're
the portal.
outside the
There are a
courtyard,
couple of cushions,
so you
you
might
can
want to
take a
go
seat on the
inside.
cushion. You're only hearing people
Most
nearby
of you,
you,
as far as I saw,
and
where
the
the
lecturer
for
who will be on
joining
stage
of the
will
Debate
be
Summer
starting
School
in a couple of minutes. The
2023.
stairs, they're ready.
The lecture is about to
Physically,
start
all you have
in
to
a
do
few
is
minutes.
move your
Thank you very
avatar
much. In the
and
lecture
have
hall.
good fun at
Currently,
the
you're
debate.
outside the
There
courtyard,
are a couple of
Thank you.
cushions,
so you
you
might
can
want to
take a
go
seat on the
inside.
cushion. You're only hearing people
Most
nearby
of you,
you,
as far as I saw,
and
where
the
the
lecturer
for
who will be on
joining
stage
of the
will
Debate
be
Summer School
starting in a couple of minutes. The
2023.
stairs, they're ready.
The lecture is about to
Physically,
start
all you have
in
to
a
do
few
is
minutes.
move your
Thank you very
avatar
much. In
and
the lecture
have
hall.
good fun at
Currently,
the
you're
debate.
outside the
There
courtyard,
are a couple of cushions,
so you
you
might
can
want to
take a
go
seat on the
inside.
cushion. You're only hearing people
Most
nearby
of you,
you,
as far as I saw,
and
where
the
the
lecturer
for
who will be on
joining
stage.
the lecture is about
Physically,
to start.
all you have
Okay, so welcome everybody to the 2023 Debate Summer School. This is Edarigu Swagatat. I'm Tenzin Namjong, and I'm Lobsang Tunye. So we're here, we're going to be the main instructors for this course, and we have a lovely group of people here live in person, and then we also have everyone viewing from your respective electronic net-connected devices wherever you are in the world. So we're very happy to have all of you here so that we can share this wonderful tradition of Nirmanda debate. And so as an initial step, we're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker just so that everyone gets a chance to just say hi to some of your fellow students. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little icebreaker, a game, basically, right? Do you want to explain how it will work?
Yeah, so basically to encourage a kind of family feeling, and so you guys can meet a few of your classmates with whom you'll be debating. We're going to break up into small groups of 3 to 4 people, and then just introduce yourself, maybe where you're from, maybe one fact about yourself. And then based on that, to make it a little bit fun, then you could, the next person that goes will then kind of state your name, state where you're from, and that fun fact about you. And then try to make an educated or maybe not so educated guess about some other quality that they have. So I'm very happy that many local Kanidigas are here. So maybe, you know, if you're from Mysore, then you could make an assumption that you had masala dosa for breakfast, right?
Mysore masala dosa.
Yes, Mysore. Yeah, paper. So you just do that. And then later, we can check if those guesses are right or not. Okay?
Okay, and so this is leading us, shall we do the language, you think, or just leave it there?
Sure.
So
now,
next step.
This is just going to introduce one of the key points in debate, where we always are starting from what we think are facts, and then we try to discover more facts based on our other facts using reasoning, right? So it could be that, you know, we have one friend from Singapore. So it could be, you know, oh, so you're from Singapore? That means you have seen the merlion. It follows that you've seen the merlion, okay? So this talk of something following, it means like logically following from the previous premise, right? So if you are, for example, from Karnataka, it follows that you have masala dosa for breakfast every day. Does it? We check, okay?
So the language would be that someone introduces yourself with your name and where you're from, and then the next person will say, so it follows that you, so that's the language of debate. It follows that you, so from Hawaii, it follows that you love to surf because you're from Hawaii. Okay, so that's what we'll play as our little icebreaker game, and then you can answer. The person, you know, from Hawaii can say either yes, that's true, or
yes,
no.
I do love to surf.
You do? Have you actually ever been surfing?
Come on.
I'm from Hawaii, right? Of course. How can you question?
I'm not very good, but I do love it. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, right. So everyone here also will break up. So break up into groups of say 3 to 4 people. Okay, and we'll do this for just 5 minutes. You know, enough to, you know, go around with everyone. So about 5 minutes, and then we'll all come back into the main temple here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, break. People online, by the way, outside of the temple, as you've seen in the tutorial video, there are these black circles. So if you go outside and get into a black circle, you'll be in a private space. So everyone in that circle can hear you, but no one outside of the circle. So that's the best way to make a group for the online people. Okay.
Sari Pema. Yeah. Everybody is zooming around. Roshni, hi. Sari
Hi.
Pema, hi.
Yes, I saw 2 people I know, so I kind of quickly scrambled up here. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Hi,
So
hi.
I guess what we have to do is, hi, Sari Pema, come into the circle. Come into that circle.
I'm completely lost. I don't know what to do.
Just turn yourself and walk into. No. Now turn around. You know the circle where we are. Now walk. Take a right into it. There you go. Now you're in.
Oh, okay.
Now we get. Hi, Anakala. Gwen, Pyokma, Olga. Wow, we have all crowded into this one circle. So I guess your assignment was to say where we are and then make an assumption, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, the other.
Hi. I think the circles they mean is the ones at the right, far away.
No, it doesn't matter.
Right
all of these are circles.
Yeah.
Oh, it's oh. So everybody is stopped in here. So who wants to start anyway? Okay. So I guess I'll start. I'm Tenzin Paldrin. I'm from Mumbai.
Hi. And so who, like, all of us can't ask, like,
no,
all
but
of
we
us
can
can't
take turns. We
restate,
can
right?
just decide. Yeah, we can just decide.
Right.
And then
So I'm okay. If I go, I'm just supposed to like restate what you just said, right? And then
Correct.
add a fun
And then
fact.
say as it follows, yeah, it follows that.
Yeah. Okay. So you're from Mumbai. Take the subject. No, that it won't work like that. Okay. So you're from Mumbai. I can't even think of a fun fact. You love Bollywood. That's
Why?
just the first thing.
Okay, great. So you somebody else, Shari Pema, you want to introduce, or Roshni, you want to introduce yourself to Shari Pema?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Roshni. I'm from Calcutta.
I'm sorry. I'm so lost.
Can you hear me though?
I can hear you, yes. That's the only thing.
Okay, Calcutta is like the old name for Kolkata, if that's something you're more familiar with.
No.
In India. City in India.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Naga. I'm from India, but I live in USA, North Carolina.
Hi.
Good morning.
So it follows that you like the Blue Mountains, Naga. There you go. Someone's here.
So you're Elena from Mexico.
Yeah.
And you work as a translator. And it follows that you translate from Tibetan into both Spanish and English.
I wish. I am learning Tibetan though, like to be a translator, but I'm not a Tibetan translator yet. I need a lot of help. But I do translate from English into Spanish.
Okay.
So you're Helena from Mexico. It follows that you translate Buddhist text.
You could say that. But you know, like I guess I should disclaim that I can't do it on my own because I always need to, ask like a Kempo if I'm doing things well.
So do you translate in general, or is it mostly like you're working on being a Dharma translator?
I'm working on becoming a full-time Dharma translator, but I actually went to school for, being a translator in general. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, the goal is to translate Dharma exclusively.
Cool. Will you focus on Tibetan, or will you try to develop your Dharma vocabulary in Spanish?
Yeah, I mean, in Spanish, I grew up in a Buddhist household, so in Spanish, I think it's okay. But yeah, in terms of Tibetan, that's still something that I need to develop. Tocayo! Hi, Stefan!
Is he muted?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Stefan. Looks a little...
Stefan, we can't hear you.
Oh,
he's gone.
Yeah.
I wonder who the debate school live stream is.
Hello.
Debate School Live.
Do you hear?
Choppy, choppy.
Micro
Hello?
off.
Yeah, he's got his mic and camera off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing people are starting to go back in.
Okay, we'll just ignore him. Okay, well, nice talking to you guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
See you
Nice
again.
meeting you both. It's nice seeing you too, Debate School Live.
Okay, welcome back. Sorry about that. We had our camera turned off there. So now everyone in the live course is all back to their seats. Took them a few minutes to even be able to come back to sit down. They were so engaged. So we hope that everyone online also enjoyed that icebreaker. And so, well, now we're going to get right to it. So first, before we begin, we want to do a couple of introductions. So that means we're going to introduce the people involved in organizing the course. And so that includes the other coaches. So we have Venerable Namjong, myself, Dunya. We're going to be present giving the lectures and instruction. And then we have other people who will help during the debate practice sessions. If there's any questions or people need some guidance, we'll have some other more experienced debaters who've attended previous courses. They'll be able to help the newer students. So we'd like to invite up to the stage, if you have the time, Stefan, if you're not too busy working with technical issues, that would be great to see you. And then also Victoria and Shmuel, if you guys can come on stage so we can introduce you. And we'll start by introducing someone who is very busy back there, but Venerable Lobsang Lexie. He's, can you come? Okay, yeah, you can come up onto the camera so everyone can meet you. He's also going to be helping doing coaching, but also is our live technical correspondent. So, welcome.
Okay. Hi everyone.
Great, so he's another monk here in Sarah J. Anything?
Yeah, just for the people in gathering, I don't say much because I'm in the live stream, but I don't interact. So just if you see me, just ignore me. I'm very happy to be ignored, so it's all right.
Okay, very good for now. But then when we're doing the debate sessions, he'll be more active, right?
Very well.
Okay, good. Thank you, Lexie. Okay, so Venerable Lexie is there, and then we have, let's see, we have Victoria is here. So Victoria, if you can introduce yourself, I'll make your screen bigger. So she was actually part of earlier online course, but also the live in-person month-long workshop. So she really got a lot of experience last fall. So just say hi, please.
Yeah, hi. Hello to everyone.
Oh, sorry. You're not coming in for some reason. What is it? Because this isn't on? We have to turn the speaker on, I think. Oh, we turned it off. That's right. Because that's right.
So can I speak?
Yeah, it seems like in
Yeah.
the physical world they have a little echo they need to figure out.
Okay. So hello to everyone. Yeah, my name is Victoria, as Tonio said. I'm happy to be here, and yeah, I will try to help you with my debate sessions. So I hope you can hear me.
Hello, I will also introduce myself meanwhile. My name is Shmuel. I'm from Israel, and I have also attended the fall debate school in Sarah J in person for 1 month in 2022.
If you can hear me, Stefan? Yes, thank you.
I can hear you now. It seems like I cannot hear the live feed at the moment, but I take this as the cue to say summer 2023. It's fun, great to see so many new faces and to see so many also known faces. We're organizing similar events like this in the past. I'm very happy that this edition continues and that
Okay, sorry about that, but thank you so much for introducing yourselves. And you guys are extremely integral to helping this course run smoothly, so huge thanks. And it will be great to have your presence in the lecture and the debate practice sessions, and Stefan helping with all this technical stuff, which we really needed you in person for, but unfortunately you're not able to come to India this time. But apparently it looks like we can't do a speaker to send out anything that people online are saying while we have our microphones turned on. There's too much feedback. So if anyone needs to say something as we go through the course, we'll have to just take time and turn off our mics and then alternate back and forth. That seems to be the only way that will work out, unless we can think of a better solution, but we'll let you know. So let's get started. We're going to start with some debate. So everyone online, we hope that you have a nice big open space where you can get up and move your body, because when we debate, we move our bodies. So the first thing we start with, well, let's just start right from the beginning. When we do debate, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to change the screen so it looks a little nicer before anymore. Okay, that's simple enough. So the first thing we do, so actually, why doesn't everybody get up? So if we can all stand up and stand, behind the second table, so you have enough room to move somewhere. And again, if you're at home, if you can stand up where you are and still see the screen and hear what's going on, then please do that. So the first thing we do is just like this. So everyone repeat after me. D! Perfect. One more time. D! Okay, so when you say D, what does it mean? So, yeah, well, does anyone know? Does anyone have an idea already? Go ahead. Yes. Invoking the wisdom. So Ritika's offered a wonderful explanation. Invoking the wisdom. Anything you want to add, Venerable?
Sure. So D is the seed syllable of Manjushri, who is the Buddha of wisdom. So by saying that syllable, yes, we are invoking wisdom. Yeah.
Great. And so that sets the tone for our debate. Because when we debate, we're not trying to just prove someone wrong. We're not trying to make someone feel like an idiot. We're trying to generate wisdom. We're trying to increase their wisdom. We're trying to increase our own wisdom. And wisdom here is very broad, right? There's many kinds of wisdom. Really, it means your basic intelligence, the basic human, well, more broad even than humans, the basic capacity to be able to understand, make refinements about things and have understanding of the different characteristics of the things of the universe, of our minds, of the world, just any phenomenon, any given phenomenon. So this is why we invoke this wisdom and we say D. So it sets the tone for our debate. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, after we say D, then what do we say? Well, then we start with making some kind of claim or a thesis. We start with something that is going to raise some philosophical question, okay? So it could be very simple, though. It doesn't have to go really deep. It can be about simple everyday objects. So how about, do you have any idea of a kind of question we can start with?
Okay. Should I start with a provision statement?
Go ahead. You can start with that. Yeah.
All right. So it follows that if someone speaks French, they're necessarily a French citizen. Okay?
So let's do it together. Or we can just say they're necessarily French.
Yes.
Just to streamline it as shorter statement. So we said what? It follows that if. So the first thing
if someone speaks French, they're necessarily French.
Okay. So let's break it down. Okay? The first thing we say is, it follows that if. Okay? So let's just say it together. It follows that if. One more time. It follows that if. Okay, now together with the provision statement. It follows that if someone speaks French, then they necessarily are French. Okay, one more time. It follows that if someone speaks French, then they necessarily are French. Now, that's basically what? A yes or no question. It's basically giving you two options, right? If someone speaks French, they necessarily are French. So you can either accept or deny that as the defender. So we have two people debating together. Right now, all of us standing up, practicing the clapping and stomping and asking that question are in the role of a challenger. Now let's switch. So if we then become a defender, now I'll say to Venerable Namjong's question, why?
So here, if you accept the question, or if you accept what is being said, then you just say, I accept. If you don't accept, then instead of saying no, we say why. Okay? So here, we'll just replay, right? So it follows that if someone speaks French, they necessarily are French.
Why?
Okay. So that why then is then asking me as the debater to supply a reason why that would be true, right?
Or here, since it's just a pervasion, we can just really reverse it, because now what happens is I've said why, so I'm saying essentially I know in my mind someone who speaks French but is not French, right? So now this brings us into another kind of statement. So let's say I give an example, let's see, someone who speaks French but who is, do you have one? Okay, very good. So an example would be someone like, a Québécois, right?
Right. So you can't just say Canada, because is Canada someone who speaks French? Is Canada a someone? No, right?
Canadian.
So we have to be even more specific.
So
now there could also be Canadians, who don't even speak French, right? So you want to be very specific in your counterexample, right?
So what would make it very specific? What would make it really Loctite, airtight specific? A French-speaking Canadian, a Francophone Québécois, right? You could get as specific as you want, or you could even say Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, right? He speaks French. He does speak French, right? With that name, he ought to speak French.
But in any case, I want to take one step back, right?
Okay.
So remember, right? We started, if someone speaks French, they necessarily are French. Then you said,
why?
Why? So then he is disagreeing with my last statement. So I can then reverse my last statement, and then he would have to accept that, right? So what does he have to accept? I'm going to play it back for him. So then it follows that if someone speaks French, they aren't necessarily French.
I accept.
Right? You see that? Right? Okay.
So what's the negation? Okay, so if you deny a question, a statement of pervasion, that's called, that kind of question is called a statement of pervasion. We're going to show a slide presentation with all these terms, and we sent it already in the WhatsApp group, so don't worry about getting all the terms exactly now, just saying it so you hear the word, we'll go back over it. Statement of pervasion. Now it follows that if A, necessarily B. Okay? So if you deny it, then you're accepting what? It's direct negation.
Yeah.
It's opposite. So the opposite of, it follows that if A, then necessarily B becomes, then you have to accept if A, then not necessarily
B.
Not necessarily B. Now this is tricky because it does make a difference where you put that not. Okay? And slowly we'll get into that.
Okay.
So I accept if it is someone who speaks French. If someone speaks French, then they are not necessarily French.
Okay.
For instance, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau.
Right. But in the debate format, since he's making that assertion, I can then ask him for the counter-pervasion. And then how you do that is then, the counter-example, I would then say, posit such an example.
Okay. So that's the formal phrasing, right? I already did it, but we're stepping back. So take the subject. So the way you make it, the formal phrasing is you get asked for the example. I'm the defender, so I say, take the subject. Take the subject, okay? And then you say, Justin Trudeau, a Québécois, French-speaking Canadian. So let's all say it together, okay? Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. Okay, take the subject, Justin Trudeau. Good. Okay, so that phrasing of take the subject is extremely important because basically, if you're, then we'll get into the next, right now, we'll get into the next kind of statement.
Okay, right. So now, since he's posited that as a counterexample, what two qualities does Justin Trudeau have to have in order to prove what he had just said? He should not be French. Yes, good. And he should speak French.
Right. And for
Okay.
those who are maybe listening from the US or somewhere, just to clarify, and this might sound really crazy to everyone here because you're mostly Indians, but when we say in India, when we say he should, it means he must. So that's just, in the US, they use the word should differently. So should for in India means he must not be French. He must be a French speaker, from someone who speaks French. Okay.
Yes, great. So now, since Dunya posited that as the counterexample, those two properties have to hold. So just to check that understanding, I then can ask him. So it follows that Justin Trudeau speaks French.
Okay, I'm gonna have to, so now here it's funny because still you wanna take your time and think about it. So, okay, yes, that is what I intended to say. I posited an example of a French speaker, Justin Trudeau, so I accept.
Okay.
So, do take your time because this is often where people get confused. You posit an example in the heat of the moment, but then when the challenger, they ask the question again, and again, another formal phrasing could be take the subject. Justin Trudeau, it follows that he is a French, wait, which one did you ask now?
He's a
French
speaks
speaker.
French.
Yeah, he is a French speaker. So debate involves a lot of words, a lot of fast-moving statements, and sometimes you don't have time to fully process, so sometimes you just blurt something out, and then hearing it asked again explicitly like that, take the subject Justin Trudeau, follows that he is a French speaker. Now you have to really think about it again. Okay, yeah, all good, I accept.
Okay. And it follows that the subject, Justin Trudeau, is not French.
Not French? Okay, well, actually, even that one. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but because I already committed myself, I'll say I accept.
Okay.
I accept. So we're in the clear. I accepted both ends of the pervasion statement. So I gave a counterexample. That means someone who speaks French but is not French. So now you just lay it out. Each of those is a separate statement. Those are called thesis statements. Take the subject Justin Trudeau, follows that he is a French speaker. That's the one side of the pervasion. Except, take the subject Justin Trudeau, and follows that he is not French. I also accepted that. Okay, so let's all do it together, okay? So just with that exact phrasing, we repeat after us, and we'll all do it together, and then we'll take questions after, okay?
Okay.
Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. So everyone just step by step. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. One more time. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. It follows that he speaks French. And then at the end of your statement is when you make the clap and stomp. Okay? Ooh, it's got a nice sound.
Yeah, I got some good resonance.
Good resonance.
Yeah.
Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. It follows that he speaks French. Okay? So we're all challenger at that moment. Can you close the door, please? Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Follows that he speaks French. Okay? And so I accept. That's, you can all just say it one time. It's easy, but I accept.
I accept.
I accept. Okay. We have some construction going on, so a little sound of the buzzsaw. Something. What is that? Circular saw, right? Some tool. Okay. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. It follows that he is not French. All right. Good. You guys are naturals. Okay. So all together. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. It follows that he is not French. Okay, and before we take the question, I do just want to ask if anyone knows with certainty, is Justin Trudeau actually French or not French? Yeah.
I wanted to ask the question with respect to what you were debating about. Did we define the fact what the French person is? Is it that
Right.
ancestry, is it citizenship?
Okay, so I'll repeat the question because it's an excellent question that drives at really the heart of what we're doing when we debate. One of the main things we do when we debate, I should say. So the question was, for everyone online, I'm guessing that if Lekshay, maybe you can tell me if people can hear the questioners? No, okay. So I'll repeat the question. So the question was, but did we define what it means to be French? What is a French person? Is it defined by ancestry or by citizenship or what have you? So that's exactly right. That's right means that's the right question. Okay? Now what the answer is, that's what we find as we debate. So, other comment you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, so this kind of question you will try to clear up during the course of your debate, right? So the next step of the debate could be when I ask Dunya, so it follows that the subject Justin Trudeau, take the subject Justin Trudeau, it follows that he's not French, and then I can ask him. It follows that he is not French because. Okay?
So now, he asked me to give a reason.
Right. And then whatever reason he gives, we can then investigate. Okay? So, you want to give a reason?
Because he's Canadian.
Okay. Right? So then, if he uses the reason because he's Canadian, then
that opens up a new statement of pervasion.
Right. If someone is Canadian, they're necessarily not French.
Not French. Good. You guys put the not in exactly the right place.
Right.
They're necessarily not French.
Right.
Nothing which is both Canadian and French.
Right. So then, you're thinking exactly right. So then, what's your name, sir? Shri. Okay. So Shri then just said, what about a dual citizen, right? So if we can posit such a dual citizen, but not just any dual citizen, a French-Canadian dual citizen, then we can disprove Professor Dunya's just claim right now.
Don't call me Professor.
Okay? Oh, sorry. Gian Dunya.
How do you frame a question like
You may not know an exact person, but you know that such people exist.
Well, you can make it as specific or general as you need. So why don't you try? Well, what about you? What comes to mind? Someone that is both French and Canadian. What comes to mind?
The subject where both when someone holds a citizenship of both.
So you can say it. So the question is, but how do we phrase such a subject if we don't know someone specific? We don't actually know a specific, named person, but we know in general that there could be someone who is both. What do we say? Right. So the example that you just gave.
Right.
So you could say, take the subject, a French-Canadian dual citizen.
Yeah. So just like we had at the first, Justin Trudeau, we had a very specific person that we can single out. That's okay. So if we know, I might know someone, Natalie, who is a French-Canadian dual citizen, and so I could use her as a counterexample. But if I don't know such a specific person, I can just use the general French-Canadian dual citizen. That's okay. Okay.
And of course, this is part of the art. So you just, as you keep going and debating more and more, you'll see how you can find a good example, a good subject that's going to accomplish what you're trying to say in your reasoning. So we have one more question here, and then we'll continue on.
Yeah. How do you produce a new art of identity of Trudeau by saying, since he is the Prime Minister of Canada, it follows that you can only have one nationality and cannot have dual citizenship, inferred from the fact that that's the way it runs in America, USA. So it's like
right. So the questioner is asking, Venerable Jigja is asking, how do you kind of add extra layers of reason into it, like a two-tiered line of reasoning? So first establish that in America, for an American president, they cannot hold dual citizenship So then we can infer, we can use that as a reason to show that Justin Trudeau, as the Prime Minister of Canada, also must not hold dual citizenship, something like that. So we'll go through, we'll gradually unpack how that could work. That's fairly advanced, you could say, or just, it's a little more than just the basic bare bones of the debate structure.
Right.
But that's what you would do, essentially. You just go step by step, establishing, okay, well, is it really possible to hold dual citizenship? What about for a president, prime minister, for what country? And you take it apart,
right,
one by one.
But for now, since it's our first day for many of us, what I would just recommend, right, if I were asked, so to take the subject Justin Trudeau, it follows that he's not French because, I could then just say because he's the Prime Minister of Canada. Okay? That reason in itself has logical pervasion. If someone is the Prime Minister of Canada, they're necessarily not French. So that is easy, just to introduce one reason at a time. Then it's the challenger's responsibility or job to try to tease out more, right? But as the answerer, you want to just hold small and tight reasons, because the more you complicate things, the more angles you're opening yourself up for attack, so to speak. And so to increase wisdom.
And
right?
so the basic advice here, and it really does stay the same throughout even years and years of continuing this practice. The more concentrated, focused, and in a way simple you can make your syllogism, your reason, the more success you will have, the more logical consistency, and the more airtight you'll be able to make your reasoning. Okay, but still, you can then just go step by step, and so you can all have a whole hour-long debate where you go very broad, but each statement you want to try and really just make it as kind of pure, like undiluted. Just look at one reason to establish one thesis. So we get a time check.
It is 4:45.
The issue at hand.
Right.
And try and elicit that one fact only.
Right. So Kamakshi is echoing what we've been trying to say, that instead of trying to put everything to make that clear, and that we really, if you start paying attention, you can see how in a lot of types of dialogue that might fashion themselves as a debate, maybe something in the news media or something between politicians, really ends up being being a kind of mishmash of all sorts of different lines of reasoning that kind of go here and there, and never really is able to stay focused and actually address the question. Well, why is he not French? Just answer that one question, right? So, okay. So now we
have one more question. Okay, you, sir.
Yeah. Maybe actually, if someone with a question could just come up here, then that would probably save time, and then other people will be able to get a chance to see you. So if you could come up here, and we'll just throw a mic on you. Right?
Yeah.
Hold the mic up here.
Yeah. Sir, what was your name again, sir?
Aditya. My name is Aditya.
Aditya. Oh, okay.
So question is, when we make a negation, what if the negation is wrong? So instead of saying not necessarily a French, if I say not necessarily not French.
Right.
So that will completely change the meaning.
That's right.
Good question. Okay. So shall we go into it now, or wait a little bit? Maybe briefly. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Now we have the two rules. Okay, so everyone heard the question Aditya had? Okay. So in general, remember, we had said before, where we put the not in a necessarily or a pervasion statement is going to make a huge difference, right? So I was asking, if someone speaks French, are they necessarily French? He said, why? So then he's accepting, if someone speaks French, they're not necessarily French. And he would accept, right?
So if we break it down, what does it mean? There exists
some person
who is both who speaks French but is not French.
Okay. Now, as the challenger, I am, as it were, in control of the debate. I can ask any question I want. So then I can also ask as a follow-up, well, if someone speaks French, are they necessarily not French?
Right.
Okay. Now, that's a totally different question. And then Dunya,
negation starts to spin you around here.
Right.
So
Dunya then has to answer fresh.
Okay. So again, why? So that's a completely different question.
Right.
Right.
So if someone speaks French, it follows they're necessarily not French.
Okay. What would happen if I accept this? If I accept this, what does it mean? It means that the French people are not speaking French.
Okay.
It means to use the technical language of the Landa debate, it means that a French speaker and a French person are contradictory. They're contradictory. There does not exist anything or one which is both of them.
Okay. So why don't, for instructional purposes, to increase wisdom, right? How do we do that? If then Dunya really made that statement.
If I accepted it.
If he accepted that if someone speaks French, they're necessarily not French.
I accept.
I accept. So now, where do we go from here? How do we then sort of disprove the statement he just made? We have to, okay, yeah, please.
Giving an example of.
Giving an example, exactly. Of what?
Right.
Someone who speaks French, who is French.
A French francophone, right?
Right. Because he's saying if someone speaks French, they're necessarily not French. To disprove that, all we have to do is find one example in the whole universe of someone who speaks French and is French. If we do that, then we disprove the statement. Okay? So, can we do that? Can we provide that counterexample?
Emmanuel Macron.
Très bien.
Très bien.
Okay? So, we have here in the audience the counterexample given, Emmanuel Macron. Okay?
Nice pronunciation too.
So now,
we have a French speaker.
Take the subject, Emmanuel Macron. It follows. Okay, and now, so what do we say? It follows that.
So now this we have to maybe break it down a little more. Okay.
Okay.
So what we do here, and this is where a reason gets applied. So we have three basic things, three basic kinds of statements that a challenger will make. A statement of pervasion. It follows that if A, then necessarily B. It follows that if it's A, it's necessarily B. Statement of pervasion. Then we have a thesis statement. Take the subject, Justin Trudeau. It follows that he speaks French. Okay. Take the subject, Emmanuel Macron. No, I can't do it.
Macron.
I've got anyway, fine. I'm mixing it with Hebrew pronunciation that I learned as a kid, and it's but that's a little too strong for the French. Okay, Macron. I'll just say it with my American accent. It follows that he speaks French, right? Something. Those are thesis statements. The next kind of statement is called a syllogism, a three-part syllogism. All it is, you take that thesis and add a reason onto the tail of it. Take a thesis and add a reason. So that's what Venerable is going to do. He's going to take a thesis and add a reason. Okay. But which thesis and which reason?
Okay.
So what did you want to do again?
So remember, Dunya accepted a pervasion statement of what? If someone speaks French, they're necessarily not French. Okay? So now, when we disprove that, we want to find a counterexample that has two properties, two characteristics. Someone who speaks French and is French. Okay? All right.
But the best way to do that now, and then this really shows why we use this phrasing, it follows.
Okay.
So what's going to follow? The consequence of my position.
Yes. So here,
an absurd consequence.
Right. That's very good. An absurd consequence to accepting that pervasion statement is that Emmanuel Macron is not French. is not French, okay? So that's what we're going to ask him. We're going to say, take the subject, Emmanuel Macron. It follows that he's not French.
So here I go. I'm thinking to myself, if I know anything about global affairs and politics, doesn't take more than half a second to know that's absurd. That's a completely absurd thing. I don't see it yet as the consequence of my position. So I'll just say, why? Because obviously I know he's the French president or PM, whatever he is, president. Prime Minister.
Okay, so now, right, we are going to use what he had previously accepted as the reason, right? So I'm going to say, take the subject Emmanuel Macron. It follows that he is not French because he speaks French.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So now what happens is my brain starts to spin around, right?
Now the only reason why that works is because he had already previously accepted that someone who speaks French is necessarily not French, okay? So when I said, take the subject Emmanuel Macron, it follows that he is not French. Why? Because he speaks French.
Oh.
That's what he had previously accepted as a valid reason.
I have two options. Okay. So we told you what a defender will say if you don't accept a pervasion statement or a thesis statement. That's either I accept, if you accept it, you say why. If you don't accept it, sorry, if you accept, I accept. If you don't accept it, why, right? If you accept it, I accept, not why. Now, how do you deny a three-part syllogism after the reason's been given? So you have two other responses that come into play. So I have an option. If I want to maintain my initial position, if I want to maintain the position that there is no one who is both French and speaks French. Now, you know, this, for the example's sake, it works really well. Maybe it's a little absurd, but there are so many things that I really do believe that are almost as absurd, so don't worry. Okay, so what I have to do is deny the reason, somehow. There's two ways to deny the reason if I want to stay consistent in my initial acceptance, my initial position. I would say either the reason is not true, or no pervasion. The reason is not true or no pervasion. Okay, so can you say the full syllogism again?
Yeah. Take the subject, Emmanuel Macron. It follows that he is not French.
Why?
Because he speaks French.
Okay, so I know he's not French. I know he is French, so I don't want to accept that he's not French, right? So I'm going to do whatever I can to reject it. Because he speaks French, I'll say, the reason's not true.
Reason's not true.
Okay.
So
that's one option. Okay.
When Denier says reason not true, what was the reason? He speaks French. So then he's accepting that the subject, Emmanuel Macron, does not speak French. Okay? All right. So now...
So that's that one. We'll do the next one then.
Yeah. So when someone says reason not true, that's what they're implicitly then accepting. Okay?
That he doesn't speak French.
That he doesn't speak, that the subject
option.
does not speak French in this case. Okay?
So essentially, the trick here is that it locks the defender into a bind, into a corner, right? I have to give up something, right? Any way I go, it's going to get absurd, right? Either Emmanuel Macron doesn't speak French, or I have to accept that there's no pervasion. If I say no pervasion, that means that I go back against the initial thing I already accepted. It means I'm saying that if someone speaks French, then they are not necessarily not French. Okay, so either way, it's going to make me have to give up some position, unless I want to just keep getting more and more wrong. Right? So if I say no pervasion, okay, now what do you do?
Okay, so
say it again.
Yeah, we'll start.
And then we'll have everyone repeat.
Take the subject, Emmanuel Macron. It follows that he is not French.
Why?
Because he speaks French.
Okay, I accept he does speak French, so I'll say no pervasion.
No pervasion. Okay?
So what does that mean? No.
No pervasion. That means the pervasion statement he's not accepting. And what is the pervasion statement? If someone speaks French, they are... Ah, we need a double negative. We need the double negative here. It's going to get confusing, but you're all intelligent. So we're going to be able to do this, okay? But we just have to keep it.
Just give it to me. Say it.
Yeah,
Say
okay.
It.
So
I want to hear it.
Yeah, so let's all do it together, right? So it follows that if someone speaks French, they are they're not necessarily not French.
Oh, I accept.
Yes, you clap.
I accept, and then what? Strike. Okay.
But with compassion.
Yeah.
Okay? So
strong compassion.
Very good. Very good. Okay? Very
Why
good.
is it a strike? It's the exact opposite of what I had previously accepted. It's the complete negation. I first accepted that if someone speaks French, they are necessarily not French. Now I just accepted if someone speaks French, they are not necessarily not French. Okay. So that's the negation of that pervasion. Okay.
So we're checking for understanding. Everyone, we're on the same page?
Okay, so the group here is very, very sharp at getting it quickly. Maybe if anyone online has a question, now would be a good time. And I'm sure you're all very, very quick in getting it too, but I know it's a little bit different sitting, watching on your computers. Yes?
How do we define debate? Is it a fact-finding exercise?
I wouldn't define it that way. Would you define it that way? I would answer no. Oh, thank you. Sorry. The question was, how would you define debate? Is it a fact-finding exercise? Gave my answer.
Oh, man. Why do we need to define debate right now?
Oh, there we go. Right. Okay. Why do we need to define
I'm not sure, actually, that is needed right now. We're learning the mechanics. Now, debate is a fact-finding exercise, right? But do we want to define it that way? Because if we define it that way, that means every fact-finding exercise isn't necessarily a debate. I don't want to accept that. And that's probably why Dunya didn't accept that. Maybe. Okay? So we can say debate is a fact-finding exercise, but I wouldn't want to define debate as a fact-finding exercise.
And it might not be the most essential quality of debate, even if we could say it's true of debate.
Yeah.
Right? There are other things going on as well. Okay. And yeah, and you'll get your own experience as you do it, and that will help answer the question. And then we can discuss it more as we go as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so time check. We might need to get to...
Il est 5 heures.
Okay, so we have 30 minutes, right? So should we get to some... should we do a breakout or just do the slides now? Before they...
Sure.
Which one?
Why don't we do slides and then at the end
we'll do the exercise.
Yeah, exercise.
Okay, so we'll go through the slides that basically just is repeating what we went through, but slower and with the printed words on the screen, so you can just catch it all. And then we'll break out into groups and do a little practice before the end of the session. Okay? And no more questions for online right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay. I'll open up
as Dunya is opening that up. Okay.
I just want to know, how long is this from most phones?
I don't know, but we can explore that later. Yeah.
I just want to know.
Okay. So, friends, as Dunya is opening it up, I just wanted to say, because we did have a question, and it might seem that I just kind of brushed the question aside, right? For now, right, one thing to understand with debate is we are using our opponent's previous assertions and kind of checking for logical consistency as we see what follows from the previous assertions. Okay? So in that way, we're going to be using it follows, it follows, it follows, it follows at every step in the game. And then what we're going to try to do is from the previously accepted assertions, finding out what logically does follow or not from the previous, right? So we're going to be kind of stress testing the internal logical system based on what they've said, okay? So if you just keep that in mind about debate, even if it's not the definition, I think it'll help.
Okay, so we're going to go through this fairly quickly, give it about 10, 15 minutes, and this is going to just be the basic structure, kind of everything you need to know to just get the picture of how a debate flows and how it works. Okay? So we're going to go through what's listed there, but we'll just go into it. Okay, the first thing that we need to know, as we said, there are two parties in a debate. What are the two parties? First, okay, the challenger, and then defender.
Defender.
And actually, what would normally a defender be doing? Sorry.
That's okay, I don't need a cushion. They would be sitting down.
Here you go. On a cushion.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at the kindness.
Okay, so a defender is normally sitting down. And of course, online, you're probably both sitting down, but if you want it, one person can stand up and, try it out. Okay, and then the defender sits while the challenger stands. Okay, that is the traditional Tibetan format. Okay, the challenger, what else do they do besides standing? They ask the questions. They have the control over the direction of the debate, and that means that they have more freedom than the defender because they really get to decide what kinds of questions to ask, where to take the whole debate. Okay? Then the defender, what's their role?
Then they have the role of responding to the questions, and this is what we were saying, they have more limited number of responses. So in the statement of fact, we have the four answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I accept, or why. And then in the statement of a reason not true, and no pervasion.
Okay, and the final point there, it says you should follow as best as you're able the rule of debate, which is stick to the textbook position, but that's where appropriate. So we don't really have textbook positions for the questions that we'll be debating here because we don't have enough time to go through a textbook and learn a whole philosophical system or something with very clear definitions and very structured kind of debate outline, as we call them. So we're not going to use a structured debate outline. So this rule becomes more flexible for this course.
Yeah. But I did want to say, based on my experience in some previous courses, one should be debating with good faith. So even what we were doing with Emmanuel Macron, if one wanted to, of course, you could maybe then, if you see you're going to contradict yourself, you could maybe then deny that he speaks French or all these kinds of things just to avoid losing your position. So some people in previous courses, they would do that, and then it just gets more and more absurd. So part of debating and answering in good faith is that once you have sort of seen the kind of internal contradiction, just accept, okay, I was wrong, I made a mistake, and move on to something more interesting.
You're right. And you might think, well, but are we really going to be accepting absurd positions? Like, how common is that? Well, no, it's like every single debate. It's very common. So really, there's not going to be any lack of times where you have a genuine debate arising between defender and challenger. Okay, two types of debate, is that right? Yes. So we have two types of debate. Now the first type of debate really is going to become much more relevant when you actually have a shared textbook with a kind of debate outline. So it's not going to really be that relevant for this particular course, but there's still, we can still use it in some ways and that we'll go over, but basically this is when you kind of go through, if you have a shared debate outline, which it really means, like, say for instance, you have, your college textbook in whatever subject, a physics book, a biology book, and it has, okay, this is the chapter on, cells and the different types of cells and how they're defined and what they look like and what their parts are. So you would just lay all that out. So the challenger asks the defender, okay, give a definition of cells. What is the division? How many categories of cells are there? What are their parts, right? So that's what a counting debate is. So you establish a common ground. So here, we're gonna kind of go through and say like how we can, basically replace that just by coming up more or less with your own definition for something. and we'll see how it works. This is the first time we're trying to do a course without using a debate outline, simply because the pre-existing debate outlines from the Tibetan tradition are so, you could use the word maybe eclectic or
I would say philosophically loaded.
Loaded, yes. It makes it difficult for people new to the subject to really grasp it and to really feel comfortable using those terms and definitions. So the counting debate is sort of a pop quiz that you would give. The next kind, though, that's where we're mainly focused on logic debate. Okay, so where you probe the topics, well, we just showed you an example. We all did it together by repeating. That's where you use reasons to prove something. Okay, so there are logic questions as well as open-ended questions. Okay, two types of questions. So a logic question, this is where you say something like, take the subject, an electron, it follows that it is a particle, or take the subject, or it follows that if it is an electron, then it's necessarily a particle. So these are, again, a statement of thesis and a statement of pervasion, right? An open-ended question. Now that's where Venerable Namchong asked me, if you remember during that demonstration, what did he ask me? He said, which time did you ask me a question?
You weren't paying attention?
I forget already. This is
Take the subject, Emmanuel Macron. It follows that he is not French because.
There we go. Okay, so that's when you ask because, right? Because, now what is that doing? That gives the defender a chance to give their own reason, okay? So instead of those 4 responses, I accept why, the reason is not true or no pervasion, instead you just give whatever reason you want to prove, right? Why is Emmanuel Macron not French? Or why is he French? Or why is Justin Trudeau not French? Or why is, anything that you want to prove, then the defender can give a reason. So it's open-ended. Okay, that's why it's called an open-ended question. Another way, another kind of open-ended question, it follows that you can posit the definition. Okay, so you're just asking for a definition. It follows you can posit the definition of a French person, right? Definition of a particle. Or divisions. Okay, divisions means categories. That's just another way of saying the categories. Okay. Okay. Those are those. Okay, and as we said, the statement of thesis and statement of pervasion. So we went through this a couple times, but just to see it, statement of thesis is a subject plus a predicate. Take the subject A, it follows that it's B. Take the subject Emmanuel Macron, it follows that he is French, right? Yep. Statement of pervasion. Really B. And we have to say it also. That's very important. It follows that if it is A, or if we're talking about people, we can say if they, follows that if someone, follows that if they, follows that if someone is A, then they're necessarily B. Follows that if it is an electron, then it's necessarily a particle. Okay. Anyone want to answer? Follows that if it is an electron, then it's necessarily a particle? See, we already have disagreement. See, this is really interesting to see, right? So some people say I accept, some people say why, so already you're going to have lots to debate about, right? Okay. So the next part, and I can maybe say why. That's to a statement of pervasion, so it's different. But this is when we have a thesis now, plus a reason, we call that a a three-part syllogism, right? So just for people who have studied maybe some Buddhist logic before, some of the terms we are using here are a little bit different than what you might find in some of the other translations of Tibetan texts, but this is what it means. A three-part syllogism means subject plus a predicate plus a reason. And the reason is used to prove that the subject is the predicate. Okay, example.
Take the subject an electron. It follows that it is a particle because it is a basic unit of matter.
Basic unit of matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now we have the two answers to give after a thesis. Everyone already knows I accept or why. Okay. Two answers to give after a reason. Everyone already knows the reason is not true or no pervasion. Okay. The information seeking questions. Well, again, we just went through those. Okay. Answers to give after open-ended questions. So now when you give, when the challenger asks one of these open-ended questions, take the subject an electron, it follows it's a particle. I accept. It's a particle because. So now the challenger asks the defender, it's a particle because. Now how do you answer?
Because it's a subatomic particle.
So you just give the reason, because it's XYZ, because it's a subatomic particle. Okay? Or you would posit a definition by saying, right, if someone asks you for the definition, you say, take the subject, a basic unit of matter. Definition of particle. Okay, so now we're going to, so that's the bare bones, the structure of Nalanda debate. Okay, if you know those things well, then you can start having debates. And so that's why we're going to start having debates. Okay, we know the structure. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the workbooks and go into the first exercise. And so
if I may just interject something, Gendunye.
Yeah.
So our first kind of demonstration exercise, that's actually how the debate is working. So all these things, syllogism, predicate, all the terminology, if you don't know that right now, I would rather you come to know how the actual nuts and bolts of the debate work. And don't worry so much about pervasion, syllogism, all these kind of terminology, right? That will come naturally later. Okay?
Right. So what's important is training our mouths. We are learning a new language, okay? So this debate, now there's something that, very common thought and also very true that, well, do we really need to learn this kind of debate if there's all these other systems of logic and, there's so many other, existing models of using logic and reasoning? Well, of course there are, and there are advantages to all of them, benefits to all of them, but none of them share this as a kind, it's logic combined with communication. It's a logic combined with a dialogue. Okay, so that's why we have to train ourselves in a new kind of language so that we can train ourselves in a new kind of thinking. And so to do that, we're just going to literally do some drills. Okay, so this is the first drill, worksheet number 1, asking and answering theses. Actually, the first 4 exercises or worksheets in that workbook are all in the exact same format. So really just so you get it out of your mouth. Take the subject X, it follows that it's Y. Take the subject a cow, it follows that it's an animal. So we'll quickly read through the instructions and then give a demonstration, and we'll break it up into groups, and then we won't come back together again because of the lack of time. So it's almost end of the session. So we'll just break up into groups, and if people have questions, they can type them into the chat, especially, or you can type them in the chat or send them in GatherTown, or send them in the WhatsApp chat, and we can address them later. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on this because it's too small, but is there? We will, don't worry. We're just going to do this first for the online people so they can break out. Yeah. But I don't know how to make this bigger. I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. Not right now. Sorry, no time. Why don't you, if you could write it down, and then someone send it in the WhatsApp group, and we can get back to it. Okay. Because for this exercise, we won't need to know that. So what does it say? Decide who will be challenger and who will be defender. the challenger says take the subject and then says the written subject. Okay, so what does that mean? Take the subject cow. Okay. Or then they say it follows that it is and says the predicate. Okay, it follows that it is an animal. Okay, you can add articles like the, or an, or s for plural. So take the subject cows, follows that they are animals. Take the subject a cow, it follows that it is an animal. Then the defender answers with either I accept or why. Okay, why don't we do the first 5 that are just right there? You want to be challenger? Sure, go ahead. I'm going to sit down.
Okay, so what do we do first?
Wisdom.
Take the subject a cow, it follows that it's an animal.
I accept.
Take the subject a cow, it follows that it's a camel.
Why?
Take the subject camel, it follows that it's a mammal.
I accept.
Take the subject a mammal, it follows that it's a camel.
Why?
Take the subject a car, it follows that it's a train.
Why? Great, just like that. So think about it. So try to go quick. So you're training in the language, but start off slow and really think about it. And that's our exercise. So for everyone online, sorry that time is going so quick, but your questions will definitely get to. So please do ask them and try to put them in writing so that we can save them and respond to them later. But let's go get into groups. So everyone online, you know the drill. Get into a little circle. Try to just do one-on-one. So find a single partner if you're comfortable with that, which we encourage, very much encourage, just one-on-one. If you're, a little bit more unsure of how to do it, then you can go and join another pair of people. But yeah, so just go outside, find one of those black circles outside of the main temple. There are those black circles. And for everyone here, just go find a space, pick a partner, and yeah, we'll pass out the workbooks, and everyone will meet back at the next debate session. So for the people online, that's 7 p.m. IST, in whatever time zone you're in. Just keep track of that time zone. And for us in person, that's going to be 8 p.m. IST. Okay, so in person and online has a little difference there. Alrighty, ready, set, let's blaze in wisdom. Okay. So we can.
Turned off. Hi, nice to meet you. Oh, you have left?
Hi,
Hi, hello.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Should we practice?
Yes. Would you like to be the challenger or defender?
Oh, as you wish. I have no experience on it, so as you wish.
Okay. Maybe I can be the defender if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course, of course.
All right. You have the workbook?
Yes, I do.
All right. Okay. Great.
Okay. So let's go. I will remain seated because if not, I have to go away. So.
Sure. No problem.
Okay. D.
Hello,
Take the
Dalma.
subject a cow. It follows
Can you hear
it's
me?
an animal.
I accept. Hello, Dalma.
Take the
Nice to
subject a
meet-
cow. It follows it's a camel.
Can Why? you hear me?
Take the subject a camel. It follows
Yes,
it's a
I
camel.
can hear you too. I accept.
Exercise. Take the subject a mammal. It follows it's a camel.
You want to
Why?
start as a challenger or do you want me to start?
Take the subject a car. It follows it's a train.
Why?
Before.
Yeah.
Take the subject train car. It follows it's a car.
Why?
Okay, I start.
Take the subject
Takes the subject
Toyota.
cow.
It
It
follows
follows
it's a car.
it is an animal.
Why?
Take the subject a car. It follows it is Toyota.
Why?
Takes the subject cow.
Take the
It
subject
follows it is
Tesla.
a
It
camel.
follows it is a car.
Why?
Sorry.
Take the subject but. It follows it
Okay.
is a bird.
Takes the subject camel.
Why?
It follows it is a mammal.
Take the subject boar. It follows it's an animal.
I accept.
Takes the subject mammal.
Take the
It follows
subject
it is a
boat.
camel.
It follows it is a shape.
Why?
Takes the
Take the
subject
subject
car.
color
It
of a
follows
boat.
it is a
It
train.
follows it is white.
Why?
Sorry.
Take the subject color of a cat. It
Okay.
follows it
Yes.
is black.
Takes the subject train car.
Why?
It follows it is a car.
Take the subject cat. It follows it is a predator.
I accept. Wonderful.
Ah.
Great.
Okay.
That's great.
Take the subject Toyota. It follows it is a car.
There you go.
Okay. So, take the
Sorry?
subject, the shape of a boat, it follows that it is
Why?
form.
It follows a Toyota is not a car.
Take the subject wealth, it follows that it is
So,
happiness.
okay.
Why?
A Toyota is not a car.
Take the subject wealth, it follows.
To,
You want me
to
to
download
share?
the other one in the. Sorry, yeah. Here. Okay, yes. Now I'm here.
I accept. So, take the
Right.
subject shape of a boat. It follows that it is a form.
I accept.
Well, it follows it is a cause of suffering.
Why?
Take a subject green. It follows that it is the color of grass.
I accept.
Take a subject electron. It follows that it is a particle.
I accept.
Take a subject shape of an electron. It follows that it is round.
Why?
Take a subject color of an electron. It follows that it is white.
Why?
Take a subject color of a rainbow. It follows it is red.
Why?
Take a subject color of a cloud. It follows it is white.
I accept.
Yes. The next.
Take the subject car. It follows that it is a train.
Why?
Take a train car.
Why?
But a Toyota is a car. Then you don't accept that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
So
wondering if
now
Toyota makes
one thing more you can do is ask for a reason. You can first you restate what she said. You can say take the subject Toyota. It follows it is not a car. And then that once that is accepted, you can ask Shilpa for her reason. You can say, take the subject Toyota. It follows it is not a car because, and then you get to hear the interesting answer.
Okay, then I say, take the subject Toyota. It follows that it is not a car because.
Now, Shmul, I'm wondering, and this is where I would go and Google search. I would wonder if Toyota makes buses or maybe something else. But I don't know.
So,
what do we do there?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, then you can just say that's. I don't know what to say if you just don't know. I'm not sure about the situation.
Optical. Take the subject shape of an electron. It follows it as round.
Why?
Hello, everyone.